And finally, the nominees for Best Picture, voted by all members of the Academy, are...
It's the most wonderful time of the year. And I have realised I do seem to work on a 12-month Oscar to Oscar calendar. I don't know if I'm the only person who does that.
I think you are. This is your Christmas, as opposed to the rest of us who love Christmas.
Although it's been quite stressful, I think, this year as well. Obviously, it's been a slightly longer lead up because of the delay.
We should tell you that we're talking about the Oscars.
We're talking about the Oscars.
We are talking about the Oscars.
What did I say? Oh,
I don't know if we mentioned it.
But yeah, it's 7 days to go, so it's really heating up. And it's getting more and more clear that it's maybe not going to be as straightforward and locked in as...
Nobody has a clue what's going on or what's going to win or...
Yeah, whether it is going to be a predictable year, especially in things like the acting categories like it was last year, or whether it's going to be completely up in the air.
It's an incredibly diverse year this year. This is like the first time I think I've ever seen the lineup look like this.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the list of some of the things that happened this year. So obviously the first time ever that 2 female directors were nominated together. Riz Ahmed was the first Muslim man to be nominated for leading actor. Anthony Hopkins was the oldest leading actor nominee at 83 years old. This was a weird one. Glenn Close was the third actor in history to be nominated for an Oscar and a Razzie for the same role. And then, the big one at the moment is the Best Actress category, which has just been bizarre. Every single major awards ceremony, it's gone to a different person. So, Viola Davis won the SAG Award. Carey Mulligan's won the Critics' Choice. Andra Day won the Golden Globe. Frances McDormand won the BAFTA. And BAFTA's sort of thrown things in the air a bit this year because they've changed how they nominate the top awards.
Yeah.
So a lot of the ones that have been winning in other awards actually weren't nominated there. So it's been really hard to use them as a precursor.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is we are going to discuss the Best Picture films, aren't we? We're going to go through what we thought of them, what they've been nominated for. Matt's going to tell you about what the chances probably are, because I'm not at all up to date and I haven't even watched all the films yet, unfortunately. It's the first time ever that I've not had the time to really get involved in it, and it's because I think as well it's been such a funny year and there's been no cinema and it's like my enjoyment's not been there as it usually is.
It's just like it's been put on pause, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's like oh right,
year.
well I'm not really ready for this. I'm not really we haven't done anything or seen anything, or, so I feel like it's kind of frightened me actually, because it's the first year in over a decade that I've not really been involved in it.
Yeah.
But we'll jump into the films because I've been watching them this week. I have watched quite a few now.
I should say as well, there's only eight this year. I'm sure they said to us that there'd be 10 nominees, but yeah, they only announced 8. So
these are the ones that keep coming up time and again, though, aren't they? So
yes, yeah.
So it makes sense that it's these 8 films. So we're going to start with The Father, which stars Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Colman. I watched this only last night, actually, for the first time. So the film's been nominated for production design, editing, adapted screenplay, supporting actress for Olivia Colman, and leading actor for Anthony Hopkins, and Best Picture.
Quite a lot of nominations.
It's quite a lot, yeah. Considering it's an extremely small, compact film, and the basic gist of it, not to give too much away, is it is a film about dementia, and it looks at it really profoundly, intimately. I thought from both sides, you're seeing it from how the family view their loved one and what they're going through, but it very much is showing you it from Anthony Hopkins' point of view.
Yeah,
I thought it was very, very good. I thought it was really moving, because he's losing himself. So at times he's just like his old self. Other times he's very quick to anger because he doesn't understand. He thinks people are lying to him, and he snaps into anger very quickly. And then he's confused and lost. And it was. I just thought it was extremely well done. I think the screenplay, which it's come from the stage. The director has adapted his own stage play into a film, and I thought it was really, really well done. The thing that stood out as well, which obviously you can't do with a stage play, is the location. They really made that its own character. The flat
it's a really nice flat.
Yeah, the flat itself is actually a character, and it's used as part of the confusion. So you see in the flat change in small ways, and then you see the same flat used as like the doctor's office, and it's like a care home, and it's stuff. It's all the same. That layout is the same, and you recognize it. But it's all how it's like being seen through a person who's suffering from dementia.
I think you probably need to like give it a second viewing to probably appreciate it fully, because I think the first time round, like you
don't notice the changes in the flat at all. No,
until you've actually watched it through once, you're not going to know what to look for.
I thought Anthony Hopkins was brilliant. I do definitely think that he's really well deserving of this nomination. Obviously, I haven't seen a lot of the others, but I would say for me, he's a hard one to beat. If there's anybody better, I'll be impressed, because I thought he was fantastic in this. It was a one-man show, really.
He definitely he does just carry the whole thing.
Was in 95% of the film, and he really is asked to do a lot. The range of what he's asked to do in this is like quite profound. So I was very impressed. Olivia Colman I thought was really good. But I have a problem, not a problem, but I have a kind of a thing with supporting performances. Whereas a lot of the time I'm thinking, well, is it really worth being nominated for? And I'm kind of umming and ahhing about this one. I do think she was really good.
I think some of the scripting for her wasn't as good as it was for Anthony Hopkins.
There wasn't as much for her to do, really.
Yeah, it's a lot of just asking the same questions and saying "Dad" a lot.
Yeah,
I'm here, Dad. Dad.
Yeah,
where are you, Dad?
Dad? I think she was good, and the thing with Olivia Colman is she can just walk into the room and do it, and you know you're going to get great things from it. I'm not sure.
It's clear the Academy like her. Obviously.
I'd have to see what the others have to offer. But I'm a bit like with that one. But overall, very impressed with the film. I thought the staging of it was really good. Production design clearly had a great deal to do with it. So that nomination itself is very warranted. And same with the screenplay and the editing. They do play huge parts in the overall film. So I think it's quite deserving of most, if not all, of its nominations.
Okay. I won't burst your bubble, but the way things are going at the moment, it's good. It's picked up a lot. So The Father was quite late to be released, so the momentum has really picked up, especially for Anthony Hopkins, bearing in mind that Chadwick Boseman has won everything across the board so far, apart from the BAFTA, which has obviously then sparked this new trend. I think its chances for adapted screenplay have increased substantially. Nomadland was the one to beat up until this point, and now actually I think the favour's going in The Father's way.
The
other ones are interesting because production design, it's you're up against Mank and things like that, very Hollywood and throwback style and things like that. So it's an interesting one.
It's one of those that's probably it's been acknowledged, but it's probably unlikely to come away with.
It's one of those. It could be that it triumphs over Nomadland and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but it's one of those. I think it'll either come out with nothing or it'll come out with two. Do you know what I mean? It completely depends on the night, but that makes it really exciting.
Fantastic. And what was the first film you're doing then?
The first one I am doing is Judas and the Black Messiah, which I watched yesterday as well. And I was really looking forward to this.
Right.
And it is very good. I will start by saying that I think the trailer was fantastic, and maybe the film didn't quite live up to that expectation, but it is a really solid entry. So I'm going to start by talking about one of the Best Supporting Actor nominations, which is Daniel Kaluuya, who plays Fred Hampton, who was the chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party in sort of like the late 1960s. And without knowing much about the real person, I thought actually he might be quite a frightening character. and I wasn't sure like how militant he might have been, in terms of promoting violence, but actually he's not.
He was only 21, wasn't he, or something?
Apparently, yeah.
He was very young, so.
But yeah, he comes across much older and wiser in the film. It turns out in the end he's actually an extremely caring figure. He believed in non-violent politics. I think it's hard to separate the people from the context, because the context itself was really heated, and with all the police brutality and all the race relations that were going on at the time.
What I found really interesting, and it's kind of a coincidence really, that 2 Oscar films this year actually feature the same things. So the Trial of the Chicago 7 has Fred Hampton in it, due to like the subject matter. And I just thought, what a coincidence that they're both in the same year.
Yeah, I think they're very timely films, obviously, with the Black Lives Matter movement, and even films like The United States versus Billie Holiday, although it was set a bit earlier, it was very similar. It involved the FBI. It's funny how you can go through like periods where topics come up quite a lot. We see it a lot. We talked about the Diana, the buses,
like buses.
I was going to say the Diana films that are going to come out, but it's really interesting. But yeah, Daniel Kaluuya has won across the board so far, and it's a very confident performance, very charismatic, and he brings a real sort of presence to the role. And I think it's because a lot of his dialogue is comprised of the speeches that he has to make. Even a lot of the time he's not doing speeches, he's still got that same sort of precision and smoothness, and it's really like convincing. Like it rolls off his tongue as if it's his own words, and it's really fantastic. And his accent and dialect work is great too. It made me think surely it should have been in the leading category. I don't know, but I don't know. So yeah, I think this is probably one of the locks of the night. Nobody else has won anywhere else. I don't think anyone else is going to get a look in. Yeah, so that's good.
So I know which one to go with for that one.
You can go with whatever you want.
Make a note of that.
Well, you might instead want to go with the other. This is unusual. The other Best Supporting Actor nomination, which is for Lakeith Stanfield, who was a big surprise at the nominations because nobody really knew that he was being considered in this category.
Yeah.
So it was a real surprise that he got nominated, and because he hadn't been nominated anywhere else. He plays the FBI informant, Bill O'Neill, and interesting character in a way. And it's interesting that they chose to show it from his perspective because, as a black man himself, he's not actually really into the whole civil rights movement. It's kind of gone over his head. He's more sort of down on his luck and just stealing cars.
I wonder if that's why Daniel Kaluuya wasn't nominated for leading actor, because the film is from this other person's perspective.
Probably. Yeah, it's funny trying to work out what the criteria is sometimes, whether it's length of time on screen or whether it's perspective. So yeah, no, I think this was a really, really good role. It was good because he had to play like the two sides, like the duality of the character, the one that the FBI sees and the one that the Black Panther Party sees. And there's times where you see the really subtle inflections of panic and paranoia when things get out of hand, and they do get out of hand, and he gets put on the spot quite a lot. I don't think he's going to win, obviously. I think Daniel Kaluuya's got that. Sorry, I will whiz through the rest. Cinematography, I think it's a really dynamic and visually pleasing film to look at. I think it's really inventive. Almost no two shots are the same, I noticed, even within the same scene. It always moves around. Really nice sort of framing of things and mobile cameras and stuff. But yeah, I don't think it's going to win in this category. We will talk about another film that I think will. Screenplay, obviously it's a true story. It's a biopic of sorts. Really timely, great subject matter. Starts and ends with archival footage and interviews, and it's the kind of film that ends and it shows you some text and you shake your head in disbelief at some of the reality of what's gone on in history. It reminded me of The Departed a bit, this film, because of the whole rat and the web deception.
Yeah, I can see that.
Line. And then chances of Best Picture. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. I think it's in the middle of the 8. I think it sort of sits in the middle. So, there is one more nomination for Best Song. I'd listen to it. It's like a funky pop song with loose references to civil rights. I don't think it's going to win. I think it's probably bottom of the pile. And it's called Fight for You. So.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I rambled there.
No,
I think it's because it's fresh. It was fresh in my mind from yesterday.
No, it isn't high on my list, this one, I have to admit. But it's not one I fancied that much. But I do like a true life story. I do like to see them. So
it's definitely Daniel
definitely will
Kaluuya's
see it.
film, though, 100%.
So the next one I'm going to talk about is Mank. Now, so in another year, this might have been all anybody was talking about. It's David Fincher. It's been this huge production with so many stars and people you know, and it's about Hollywood and real people, Irving Thalberg and Louis B. Mayer, and all these really famous people that we know the names of. But I feel like it's kind of like come out and people are going, "Oh, Mank, yeah," and then moved on.
Yeah,
know. But it's got a lot of nominations. It's got 10 nominations. It's got score, sound, costume, hair and makeup, cinematography, production design, supporting actress, leading actor, director, and best picture. I mean, it's like across the board. To be honest, production design definitely well deserving of that. Hair and makeup the same. Same for costuming. You can definitely look at those and go, yeah, I can see why that's there. The score I hated, actually. It was just always there. There was always the score. There was barely a moment when there was no score, and I found it really off-putting.
They were always trying to assimilate a classical film.
They had a sweeping score. It really brought me out of it, and I just didn't like it at all because it was always there, and I just didn't like what it was doing. Supporting actress for Amanda Seyfried. Absolutely no idea why that's there whatsoever. She was lovely.
Most invisible she's been in a role.
God, I just don't know why she's been nominated, because she didn't do anything. The
characters were boring.
Yeah, she just had a few lines. She didn't do anything. She just sat there, looked pretty, had a few drinks, talked to him. Yeah. That was it. There was nothing to there was nothing to stand out. Why has she been nominated? I don't understand at all that one. And yeah, like you said, it was just boring, to be honest. And I really love classic Hollywood and old Hollywood. I knew all the people, like most of the people who were talking about it, and I just did not see what the movie was about.
Well, we were sort of sold that it was about the writing of. Sorry if you can hear a drill. About the writing of Citizen Kane, but I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, we saw him
writing something, but
yeah, but it never mentioned Citizen Kane at all.
I don't know whether I've just been a bit thick and the events that were happening all. Sorry, that drill is really loud.
I think the what the film was supposed to be about, and I didn't kind of get this until the very last kind of 10 minutes. The film is supposed to be about how at this election, that was when the main character, Herman Mankiewicz, kind of turned on his relationship with William Randolph Hearst, and that's why he wrote Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be about, but it really doesn't make that that happens towards the end of the movie, and I just found it really difficult to get into because it flashes back and forwards all the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why it was doing it. I just didn't see why that was necessary.
Disappointing for a David Fincher film.
Yeah, it looked great. It really did look fantastic,
and
the black and white was the black and white was lovely and all that, but it really just didn't do anything for me whatsoever. I'm afraid.
Nobody's talking about it anymore, and for that reason, that's why I said production design.
And even Gary Oldman. I mean, I think the reason he's been nominated is because he's in the whole film. I don't think it's necessarily because he does anything extra special.
Yeah, I see what you mean. In terms of awards, how it's done, it has literally only been winning production design. I think I don't recall anything else really happening. It's one of those. It's like La La Land in a way. That had 14 nominations and only really came out with a couple.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's a bit more extreme than that. It could probably come out with one, unless they decide they really don't like it and give production design to The Father, or even they could go Tenet. Or News of the World. They could do anything.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. Interesting. So, okay, next film.
Now, this is the foreign language film, isn't it?
It's actually not considered in the foreign language category this year, and I think it's because it's an American co-production.
Right. Okay.
I might be wrong in that, but yeah, it's not being considered for international film in this
In
for
this
the Academy, I
instance.
should say. Yeah.
Now, you're going to have to tell me what this is about because I have absolutely no
It's
idea.
lovely. Oh, I forgot where I was. So this is Minari, and it's essentially about an Asian American family who have moved from California, and the main character is played by Stephen Yeun. He's the father of the family, I suppose. Yeah, he's got two kids and his wife, and he wants to just make their life just better.
Yeah.
It's really hard to explain because it's a very simple film. He even says to his son at one point, "Why did we move here? Remind me why we did this." And his little boy, played by Alan Kim, who's adorable, just said, "Because we had nothing." And that's pretty much what it is. And he's got this dream that he's going to convert this land. They've bought like an RV, like on wheels, just in the middle of nowhere. And he's going to start farming and make it successful and just make it work for them. And it's a really, really sweet film. And speaking of Stephen Yeun in the Best Actor category, he's great because he obviously works with the kids. On the other hand, he's got like relationship issues with his wife, and on the other hand, his work and things like that. He's quite desperate and determined, and then they come across problems with money and water even at one point. But also, it's a very funny film as well, and he's very good at doing that. But I think the standout performance. I wish they would stop. Someone's got like a chainsaw or something outside. Oh well. The standout performance is from Yuh-jung, who plays the grandmother who comes over from Korea to come and live with them.
Yeah.
And she's nominated in the Best Supporting Actress category. She's the cool Korean grandma you'd always want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's the Korean Celia Imrie, She's she's fantastic. Honestly, she's a revelation. It's a shame that we're only seeing her over here, now.
And how likely is it that she'll come out with the award?
I think pretty likely.
Yeah, so she's the favourite.
I think she won the SAG and she won the BAFTA, I think. It's great. She's got a great arc with the little boy who just he keeps saying to her, "You're not a real grandma," because she doesn't bake cookies and she doesn't, she doesn't do all the conventional Western
don't fit
things.
The stereotype.
Yeah, and he sort of pranks her quite a lot, and there's lots of cultural differences, but their relationship blossoms and it's really, really touching.
Yeah.
It's a great role as well as a great performance, and she's my pick. Original score it's nominated for here, and it's very unusual. It's used quite minimally, but it's very unique. It reminded me of like Shape of Water. That kind of, it really stood out.
Yeah.
And it's hard to describe, It's kind of like a Korean infused, almost sort of heavenly, I've written ethereal, a little alien-y. And it's hard to say why it fits the film, but it probably is because it's quite relaxing and unobtrusive. And I really like that, but I don't think it's going to win. Seoul has won across the board for score. Best Original Screenplay, which is a really deserving nomination in a category that's really stacked. It's semi-autobiographical, which gives it this element of authenticity and the level of detail about how they live their life and what they do for work and their health and their faith, and right down to the detail of how they get rid of their rubbish, from the RV, and how he's doing his farming and stuff. It's really like true to life, almost like you couldn't write it.
How do you pick from the screenplay category? It is a difficult one, I think.
So what else we've got? We've got Promising Young Woman, Trial of the Chicago 7, Sound of Metal, which would be my pick, and I'll explain later why.
Yeah.
And then something else.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But it'll have a hard run to beat some of those other ones,
I think there's a definite standout in there.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you'll get to.
Yes.
The other thing about the screenplay actually is it's kind of written with 3 generations of people in mind, and not only does it focus on them as a family unit, but it branches out into the individual relationships, so the brother and sister, husband and wife, father and son, mother and daughter, grandparent, grandchild. Is really, really well done. It's so convincing, and that's all down to Lee Isaac Chung, who's the director. He's sort of directed it in 2 languages for 2 cultures and 3 generations, including children. The cast is incredible.
So it deserves to be there, basically.
Yeah, it's a great film. It'd be my second choice for Best Picture.
Oh, wow.
I think.
Okay.
It's just so nice. Yeah.
I'll have to get round to that one then. Definitely have to get to that one.
It's just nice. That's why I think you'd like it. It reminded me of Places in the Heart and films like that.
Yeah.
Not just because it's a farm, but for lots of reasons.
Okay.
that takes us to halfway through.
It does.
Yeah.
And you've got the next one as well. So
I do, yeah. This one's a hefty one.
you're going to have to tell me a lot about this one because I keep hearing the name of it all the time.
Yes. So the next film is Nomadland. And I think the best way to describe the film is to talk about Frances McDormand's character, who's called Fern, because the character's kind of really inseparable from the story. She's in her 60s. She's lost her husband. This is right at the beginning of the film before anything happens. But she's also lost her job, and she's having to move out of her town because it was a mining community and it's closed down, basically. So she's found herself essentially homeless, and then stumbles into a new community of modern day nomads. So these are people who don't really have a home, travelers, pretty much. Move from place to place.
Yeah.
The film's just about her adapting to that lifestyle and adapting to being alone and independent and self-sufficient in this tiny space, usually out in the middle of nowhere with bad weather, and reconciling her circumstances. And the weird thing about it, I say it's weird, the great thing about it is that it's almost a documentary. So in terms of Frances McDormand's performance, it's not showy, but it is really authentic, because a lot of the things that the character is going through, she's actually having to do herself.
Well, they went and lived it, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
If I'm correct, they actually went and did that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the supporting cast were real people, and they didn't realise she was an actress. They thought she was doing a documentary with them.
Yeah.
So you do see her pissing and shitting and cutting her own hair and being cold and wet and dirty and doing the jobs that she does. She picks up part-time jobs wherever she is, and we see her as a cleaner and shoveling potatoes and working in a diner and Amazon and things like that.
Yeah.
So it must have been a great experience to film. But it's hard to say whether that means that it's a great performance or whether she's just being a version of herself. I don't really know how it's going to go. I think she could win for this, but it's a different kind of performance in a different kind of film. But yeah, the screenplay is another interesting one. Again, like I said, it's a documentary.
Yeah.
The book it's based on is non-fiction. So what Chloe Zhao has done in adapting this, sort of created a structure and a character journey out of just other people's true stories. So I think that's really interesting. But I think because the father has now come in and it's very story, it could go that way instead. So I don't really know. Cinematography is the one I think is a lock.
Yeah, it does look absolutely gorgeous in some ways. It's what it's done, the way it's been filmed, from what I can see, even in just the trailer.
The biggest thing going for it is the location shooting, because it's all pretty much just, it's out in the world and looking at what's there. And I really like the natural light that they use as well. There's a really nice sunrise scene, and then there's campfires and lanterns and things like that.
Yeah.
The great shot from the trailer, I think, is where she's walking through one of the campsites. It's a massive tracking shot, and it sort of goes along. Very, really nice to look at. I don't think it's going to lose. Editing is another one. So it's realise how many nominations these films have got. It's a funny one, again, because it's not really like a story as such. It's edited on impulse, I think, and on instinct. And again, Chloe Zhao did all the editing herself, which is fantastic. So it's like a condensed montage, really. It really gives that sense of a life that moves around a lot, and it's quite free flowing. I don't think it's the showiest though, so I don't think it's going to win there. But Chloe Zhao in general as a director, and I think she probably will win here, even if she doesn't win for her other things like editing and screenplay. She will get this one. It's just technically it's flawless. The balance of tone, because it's very sad circumstances, but the way the character finds a way to laugh away the pain, in a way. It's very thoughtful and very genuine human film, and it's like a documentary, which is why I think Best Picture is also a very certain, can I say that, a very certain
you can say that.
Shout. Obviously it speaks to America
so
at this time.
This is the one that looks like it's going to pick up the big one.
Sort of it speaks to the recession that happened, especially about middle America, where it's it's kind of like a forgotten community of senior citizens, really, who have been abandoned, they've been let down by the social security benefits system and employment and housing and healthcare and industry. And it just put things into perspective, really, that you can't take a roof over your head for granted, and tin openers at work and stuff like that. So I think we're going to be seeing this take the top awards. Something drastic would have to happen, I think, for it not to happen. But
wow.
So hefty one there. Sorry if I went on. There's lots to say.
We'll see.
Mm.
Right, the next one is my... I'm not, but I'm going to keep them in my head. So this next one is my best picture pick. I don't even have to see it anymore to know that this will stay at the top of my list. So this is Promising Young Woman. I know you didn't think as much of it, but I just thought it was something else. It was what we needed right now. So Promising Young Woman, from the trailer, it almost looks like it's going to be some kind of horror film. So it's
I was I'll speak at the end. Sorry,
it's Carey Mulligan, and from the trailer you see her as this drunken woman going out to clubs and getting herself absolutely shit-faced, basically not knowing what she's doing, and then having men take advantage of her, basically. But then it turns out she's not drunk at all. She's completely sober, absolutely aware, and you think it's going to be like, oh my god, what the hell is she going to do to these men? That's what you think from the trailer, but it's actually nothing like that whatsoever. It has this in the trailer. You also see like this romantic element. Is she going to change? She's going to meet this guy who's going to be the one, and it's totally not what the trailer says it was. And I wasn't that keen on it from the trailer, to be honest. I
don't know if I watched the trailer. I don't remember.
I thought it looked okay, but it didn't really sell it to me. But then when I actually watched the movie, it was my sister who said, you have to see this. I said, we're going to watch this. So I saw it, and it really did actually blow me away. I thought Carey Mulligan was absolutely spot on.
She's the best thing about the film.
Oh, she was fantastic. And the film's actually, I would say that the film is mostly about trauma, PTSD, and like moving on with your life. And this, I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. So, but the gist of the movie is that and you don't get it straight away. You don't get what's happened straight away, but her best friend during medical school was abused at a party by other, like a load of men. He did it in front of all of his friends, and everybody saw it, and nobody did anything, and nothing was done about it, to the point where it traumatized her friend so much that she committed suicide. And that Carey Mulligan's character, her whole life from this just stops. It stalls, and this becomes her life, and what she's going to do about it. And that's, I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to give anything away, but that's why she is the way she is. And her whole life is just built around this. And it blew me away because of the performances. I thought the screenplay was absolutely fantastic, because you didn't know quite what was going to happen. I thought, oh yeah, I've got this. I know exactly what's going to happen with this.
Yeah,
I can see this right down the line. I know what's going to happen.
Definitely played with the conventions, the expectations.
It didn't do what I thought it was going to do so many times, and I just thought, oh, that is just brilliant. Because I mean, we see so many films now, and you just, most of the time you can pinpoint it. This is where we're going, A, B, C, and this one it was like, right, we're going to go A, D, Z, T. It just literally, it just went in so many different directions. Which I thought was fantastic. So for me, screenplay, this has got to win screenplay, because it was...
Yeah, this will win.
I really hope it does, because it deserves the recognition, because it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a new way of doing that theme, I think.
And it's so timely. The film is so timely about abuse and what's actually done about it. And crying rape, and what, the men's point of view, the women's point of view, for me, it could have come out at any other time.
Yeah.
So, and I will say, go into this with your eyes open, but don't come out expecting to love men, because you probably won't for a couple of days afterwards. You're going to hate men.
Well, the men in the film I thought was really like weird. Like the casting of them I thought was really unusual. But this is the thing. My overall issue with Promising Young Woman is I couldn't tell if some of the decisions that had been made about sometimes the look of the film, the direction of the film, the casting of the film were deliberate, or whether they were like, I don't know, like, it just seemed weird. Like Kerry Mulligan to me seemed almost like she was miscast in the end, because everybody else was like a very like American comedians. Like it reminded me of American comedies like Game Night and Tag and Horrible Bosses. But the performance that Kerry Mulligan was giving was from an Oscar film. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't quite find the balance of the genres.
I think that's the point, because everybody else is living this one life and thinks she's in there living it with them, but she's not. She's living this totally other line.
In a way, it's a piss take of those kinds of films, like, you know, that have those attitudes, you know, and have gotten away with it.
Yeah, I think Emerald Fennell knew exactly what she was doing with every single shot of this film. That's my take. I think she knew exactly what she wanted to look like, where she was going. And it feels that way to me. It feels like it's in someone's hands. Some films just feel directed. You can see the choices. You can feel that somebody has put this together. And I felt that with this. I think Emerald Fennell absolutely deserves to be in that Best Director category, because she's made a hell of a film. I think every nomination here is absolutely deserved, and for me, I would love to see it win Best Picture, because I just think it's so timely. I think the performances are fantastic, and I think it doesn't do what you expect. And that for me in a film nowadays is one of they're the ones that stick with me, because we just know the layout of movies now. You know what's coming, you know what to expect, but this didn't do that.
So I think a lot of people would agree with you that it's their pick. My only issue is that I don't think it's the full package necessarily.
With this film, sorry to interrupt, just to say before I forget, this film, more than anything else, I think for years people are saying, have you seen Promising Young Woman? I even got a message from my best friend last night. She went, have you seen Promising Young Woman? I was like, yeah, I saw it a couple of months ago. She went, oh my God. She said, and I was just telling her, you know, I think that it's getting a bit of buzz, and if it wins some awards, it might get a little bit more. But she said, right, so word of mouth, I'm going to tell everybody about this movie.
Yeah, I think one of my issues was that I'd only heard that it was the best film ever made. So when I went in, inevitably I was going to be disappointed a little bit. I still gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought, you know, I think thematically, most of all, and Kerry Mulligan, it's brilliant. I just didn't know where I sat with it. I just didn't. I think the aesthetic of it puts me off a little bit, because it's not your conventional.
Yeah, I like that though. And this is coming from me. I usually like conventional, you know, but it's the fact that it's not.
Yeah, but it reminded me of like Palm Springs. It's very colourful and fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I like sometimes associate that with like flicks, you know, like a bit of a comedy rom-com. But again, I think I need to rewatch it, because I can't work out yet what was deliberate and what's my preference and what's gone wrong.
Like anything. I say, I think everything in it is deliberate. I think she's done it all on purpose.
It's just confusing. If anything, maybe the film's had the right effect on me. That it's made me feel
you want to watch
it
again. You want to see it, and because you need to see it again to make your decision. Yeah,
but I think in terms of the story, like unlike a lot of people, I did see everything that was coming, but it also did less than I was expecting. So like, it's like you said, it's one of those things like there's not really that many twists, because every time you think she's going to do something, it's like a anti-twist, isn't it? Because it builds up to you thinking that's going to happen, and a twist is going to happen. Like you said, twists in a way now are not twists anymore, because we know they're going to happen. But this one like subverts that and goes backwards. It inverts them, I should say. Yeah, sorry. It's a funny one. It's a great conversation topic, though.
Oh, it is. I don't think you could
gets
watch
people
this.
talking.
Yeah, I mean, my husband didn't even watch the film, and he came in, and we were having a conversation about it for about 40 minutes afterwards, and he didn't even sit and watch it. It really is one of those that you will talk about, which is good, because there aren't enough movies like that you can come out of and have a really good discussion about them. Now, your next one, I think I might watch this today, because I'm really looking forward to watching this. So tell us about this one.
This is what I think. If I could give this 7 out of 5 stars, I would have done.
Wow.
Sound of Metal. And starting with the acting categories. So Riz Ahmed, who's in the leading actor category, and he plays Ruben. And here are some of the things that he did in preparation for the film. Just a few things. He had a personal trainer. He does spend a lot of the time of the film, like sort of half naked, sweaty veins, tattoos. He's got his hair dyed blonde. So physically, it's a transformation. He spent 7 months learning how to play the drums. In the film, we see him on stage and off stage with very different personas. This is where the story comes in. Obviously, the film is about the very sudden realization that something is seriously wrong with his hearing. And he loses about 80% of his hearing overnight, pretty much what feels like overnight. And the emotions that he battles with throughout the film make it so intense. I don't think I breathed until the credits had finished. And throughout, he cycles through rage, fear, shame, denial, anger, sadness, frustration, panic, paranoia, withdrawal. It's such an intense performance. I'd say it's as intense as Joaquin Phoenix doing Joker, like, if not more. And he's playing a recovering heroin addict as well, which is a huge factor in the direction the story takes and the way he portrays the ability and inability to cope with his situation. He learnt American Sign Language for 8 months for the role. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal performance.
So you put everything into it, basically.
Yeah, the skill he's put into it to pull it off and do it convincingly is astounding. And I don't know why he's not getting talked about. It really bothers me because it is, in my eyes, by far the best performance that's nominated in that category, more than Anthony Hopkins and more than Chadwick Boseman, in my eyes.
Well, this is the thing, when somebody's put their all into it like that, you've got that should be looked at. I mean, look at Leonardo DiCaprio when he won for The Revenant. He won because of what he put into it, which was completely deserved. But then, I mean, I was watching just a little bit of an interview last night for The Father, and Anthony Hopkins was asked how he went into this, how he did it, and he just said, "Well, I just go into it. It's in the script. I just do it." So he just goes in and does it. Whereas
that's like natural talent,
and then you look at the alternative, and this guy's gone and he's done all of this stuff. Like he's learned things, he's changed his life to create this part.
And he's obviously a British Pakistani actor. Like he's not American.
Exactly.
Either.
That to me, that should be acknowledged.
Yeah. It's so confusing to me how he's not getting talked about more. If he won on the night, I would be the happiest person for a day or so. So he drives the film pretty much. There is a supporting actor nomination for Paul Raci, who plays Joe, and he's kind of, I mean, the film and the story orients around Ruben going into it's a sober house for the deaf. So because of what's happening with his hearing, his addiction is threatening to reappear. So he has to sort of admit himself, as much as he really doesn't want to, and admit that he's got, that he's disabled. Into this program, and this is what Paul Raci's character runs, and he's a deaf character himself and a recovering alcoholic and a Vietnam War veteran. But what's unusual about this role is it's really understated. He's so calm and controlled all the way through.
So it almost doesn't feel like
but it's an invisible role. You don't ever think about this as being an actor. It's a character, like, through and through.
He's just doing it.
Sort of wisdom-filled father of this community. It's really, really, really nice performance, and I don't think it's going to win, obviously, the same category as Daniel Kaluuya again. But if he did win, it would be the kind of Mark Rylance win. But the sound, and this is the only sound nomination I think we're talking about.
You can see why.
I read somewhere that actually there's never been a film with sound in the title that's been nominated that hasn't won
Wow.
in the sound category. I might be wrong, but I did read that somewhere. So I really like it when films break the mold and do something that you've never seen done before.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I think this has already won is because it's done that, and it plays with sonic perspectives.
Yeah.
In the way that it shifts in and out of his point of view, like in and out of his head, really. And I have to say, I think it is one to watch. I mean, if it doesn't come out in the cinema, I'd say try and watch it with headphones or something. I say that because I don't know if it will have the same effect if you're watching it just across the room, because it's designed to make you experience exactly what he can and can't hear, and it's so acute, like some of the things that they've done. And there's no score in the film either. So yeah, they really do make you feel like that you're in his head, and it's the definition of immersive cinema. It really heightens the story and makes you so close to the character that you actually are him, to the point where I think, I don't know if they do it more than once, but there's definitely one scene where they've designed a microphone to go into his mouth.
Wow.
And it picks up obviously his breathing and his jaw clicking, his bones creaking. You can hear his eyelids opening and closing, and you can feel he's touching his ear, and you can hear the sound of your finger on your skin as if it's rough. If you put your head under the water and did it blew me away. Like absolutely amazing. Editing is also here. The sound and the editing is kind of hand in hand, and it's noticeable when you do cut in and out of his head. You jump from the subjective and the objective. So it might win. This is the one of the three categories I think is really up in the air. More nominations. Screenplay. I think it's really clever how it incorporates some scenes that are completely non-verbal. It must have been really hard to write and to sort of for an actor to then take that and do something with it. And obviously just incorporates sign language, jumps in and out of perspectives. I don't think it will win. It'd be my choice, but I think Promising Young Woman has got the advantage of the themes and the genre subversion. So, but it's a really great category, as we said. And then Best Picture, it actually took 12 years to get made. It's a directorial debut by Darius Marder, which is astounding. When you see it, you'll be like, how can you only have made one feature film and it's this? But it really drives that message that it's about ability and not disability.
Yeah.
It's a proper experience, this film. Oh, I love it. It would be my best picture.
So we know what your favourite is. We know what my favourite is. Okay, so the last film that we're going to talk about is The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yes.
Which actually I was not looking forward to going into this.
I see what you mean.
I was just like, okay.
It's just another one of those films,
I'm sure it'll be good. It'll be fine. And I watched this last weekend, and I'm still thinking about it in some ways.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Now, this is basically, it is about a trial that happened in America, and it was around. It was in Chicago, and it was. It was 7 people, and it was basically about whether they incited riots to do with an election, or whether they didn't, whether it was the police that started it. And I cannot believe this is like a real thing. You're watching it and you're thinking, this isn't real, this can't possibly have happened, because it is so prejudice against them. You're just like, how the hell? Like, the judge, honestly, Frank Langella is fantastic. He always is, but my God, I wanted to absolutely bray that man. Honest to God, it was like, are you actually hearing this? Is this how the hell is this going on? How is this
really
possible?
Unprofessional.
Oh, it was unbelievable. So this film was directed by Aaron Sorkin, who obviously we know is an amazing screenwriter. And I thought it was really well done. I mean, he's known for his dialogue, and it shows in this as well. It's all there. Really well done. I think the screenplay nomination's well deserved, and you know that coming in. It is really the screenplay, the dialogue is really what stands out. It's peppy and it's fast, and it's the editing kind of fits in with that. It's very fast.
Yeah.
Bam, bam,
lots
bam.
and lots and lots of cutting away and montages and
and obviously, again, it's based on a true story, so you've got that going for it as well. Cinematography, it's not
Weird
got a
nomination.
chance when you put it next to other things.
It's just
it really
well made, and it's one of those. I think they were just struggling for.
Song, not a surprise that it's there, because you've got a film like this, you can have one of those uplifting, powerful songs to go with it. So that's not surprising. Sacha Baron Cohen for supporting actor.
There were so many supporting actors in this film
I'm just
that you could have really
I'm not
picked
sure
anyone.
why exactly he got picked. Because he's not got like the standout performance to me. He's not the one who did the most. He's not, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but you do really I really liked his character.
Yeah,
I really, really did like his character. So I kind of get it, and I don't get it.
Yeah, it could have gone to any of them.
Yeah, I don't think
like
he's got
Frank Langella and Mark Rylance actually in this film were
absolutely
probably the two that butted heads and had the most sort of emotionally charged scene.
So in a way, it's a surprise it went to him rather than somebody else. And Best Picture, I can definitely see why it's there. It's full of stars. It's about a true story. It's really well put together. So you can see why it's there. But for me, it's not really got much of a chance when put up against some of the others.
I have a general sense I'm getting is that it'll be the second choice Best Picture nomination. I think a lot of it is to do with the cast.
Yeah, exactly, and the subject matter. It's so American,
It's
it's something that they'll all. I mean, I have to admit, I love films like this when they're so kind of. It's all about this one event that you know nothing about. You've never heard anything about.
That's how we learn, isn't it?
Yeah, I love films like that. So for me, like personally, it would be my second favorite.
Right.
So far, so I wouldn't be bothered if it did win, because I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting, because I was not expecting much going in.
Like I said, it has that feeling of it's another one of those films.
Yeah, it's a funny type of film.
Fun.
It isn't. It's got that enjoyment factor that an Oscar movie doesn't always have.
Yeah.
It's a true story, and there are serious themes in there and serious moments, but there's also a lot of laughs as well. And I did come away from it thinking I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I've recommended it to other people that you've got to watch this. I think you'd really like this.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I wrote one sentence in preparation for this. I put enjoyed it. Maybe would have been a better documentary, but it's one of those. It could have worked as either, really.
Yeah,
and been just as good. But yeah, it's one of those. I think what's going against it at the moment is that it came out so long ago. I think it's maybe even longer than Mank came out. This is the end of last year online.
Forgotten about it.
Yeah, and it sort of like dropped off the map, but it has done well. I mean, it won the Golden Globe Screenplay Award. They don't separate theirs into adapted and original. So early on, it was like, Trial of Chicago 7. And then it's won, obviously, the Ensemble Award at the SAG Awards, and I think it also maybe won one other ensemble. I don't know if the Critics' Choice might have done that. But yeah, I think it's a solid film, but I just don't know if it's like breaking new ground as such, as some others are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, it's a really. We're looking at the 8 films. It's a solid bunch.
Yeah, considering the year that we.
It's different. I think there's some films in there that you think, they're purely Oscar movies. You would expect them any other year. But then there's stuff like, I think The Sound of Metal just is like one of those that really stands out. You wouldn't maybe expect that. It's like you say, Minari is slightly different, small, compact, such a pleasant film.
A24 film.
So there are films in there that you think, it's just nice to see that they've got in, that they're being recognised.
I actually didn't tally them up, but how many are from Netflix, Amazon?
Netflix, I mean, people talk about Netflix, they own everything, they're ruling everything, but But
they do still make good work.
Yeah, they make fantastic movies, and they are putting their money where their mouth is, and they are exploring. Yeah, okay, they've got stuff like Bridgerton,
Some stuff is
which
awful.
Bridgerton's like the biggest thing on the planet at the moment. But it is. I have seen it. It's fantastic, Bridgerton, by the way. But they're also making stuff like The Trial of the Chicago 7, things like that, and the documentaries that they put forward, and they're putting money forward to make sure that these things are getting out there. And I think that's so important. Netflix is I always like Netflix anyway, but they've come up so far in my estimations because of what they're putting the money behind. What you always hear, and you hear it every single time, that filmmakers come to Netflix having not worked with them before, and they just say they just left us alone to do it.
Yeah.
There's no interference. They just leave them to make it.
Yeah.
And that is so refreshing to hear.
Yeah. To the fact, even when Martin Scorsese went to do The Irishman with them, that was the big first example, wasn't it? Where that he put his faith in them is definitely saying something. So, let me say, it's 7 days to go. It's happening, well, for us, it's the morning of the 26th of April. At this moment in time, I know you've not seen too much. I thought it might be good just to run down and see what might be what our predictions or any locks that we think are actually going to happen in these categories. I don't know if you have any off the bat based on what we've talked about now today.
What I think will win.
Absolutely, 100%. If you have to put money on it today.
Right, I'll just pick some of the big ones. I won't go through everything, but I would say I think Nomadland is a sure thing pretty much for Best Picture and Director. Leading actor, I'm not sure. I don't know if you could pick that.
That's one of the categories, I think. In fact, there's 4 categories. I think that's one of the ones that's now been
I haven't
thrown
seen
into
some of the other films, but like you said, Chadwick Boseman's won a lot, but Anthony Hopkins is very good. Again, leading actress, very difficult to say, because we haven't even mentioned Vanessa Kirby, who I haven't seen the film yet, but apparently she's fantastic as well.
She's very good, but it's a 1 nomination film. Do you know what I mean? It's not nominated for anything else.
It's like Glenn Close the other year.
That's right. But that category is, I think people are saying it's the most up in the air it's ever been. And I'm thinking,
I think it'll go to Frances McDormand.
I think it could.
I think it, because she's the name. She's the name. She's she's won Oscars before. I just don't know. I think, and because of the love of the film, it'll get picture and director. I think it might just push,
just sort of naturally, where people can't make the decision, they'll go with that one. I think if there's ever going to be a tie in this category, it will be this year.
Yeah, I think Daniel Kaluuya is probably just a sure thing. Supporting actress, I don't know, because I haven't seen them, and what I saw I wasn't particularly bothered about. But like you say, Minari that's the one that's going to go. Now, in terms of screenplay, adapted screenplay, I think is a difficult one, because I've only seen The Father
the third
so
of
far.
The 4 categories, I think, has gone into flux. It was Nomadland's for the taking, and now it's is The Father going to take it?
That's a difficult one to call, but for me, Promising Young Woman has to win Best Original Screenplay, because I just thought it was superb. So that for me is the one I want to go for. And I'll just stick in there one that I do think is probably going to win is Soul for animated feature. I think that's probably a lock. But that's where I would go at the moment, I think, in terms of the big ones.
The other categories that seem to be locked are costume, hair and makeup, which Ma Rainey has swept across the board. Pinocchio's nominated, which I watched last night. Made me want to jump out of a window. But, visually, it's very impressive. It's just a god-awful film. So Ma Rainey is going to reel in some wins there, probably. Soul, like you say, animated, and score, it's been winning, although a lot of love for Wolf Walkers, and if it could be a last-minute Moonlight moment with with Wolf Walkers, which I think you would absolutely adore. I think you'll like it more than Promising Young Woman, if I'm honest. I think it's really, really, really exciting.
Up my street.
Absolutely. Sound of Metal for sound, production design for Mank.
Yeah.
What else haven't we covered? Song. It's a funny one. I think that's as we've been talking, I've been adding more. I think there's 5 categories that are really up in the air. Song is one of them. So we've got the big sort of epic closing song from Eurovision Song Contest versus Speak Now, which is my favourite, from One Night in Miami, sung by Leslie Odom Jr., who's nominated in the supporting category. The Diane Warren, who's been nominated about 11 times and never won, song from The Life Ahead. I think it's a Sophia Loren foreign language film. The fight one, I'll Fight for You from Judas, which I don't think has a chance, and then there's something else as well. So yeah, that's a category that really could go anywhere. Editing is Trial of the Chicago 7 versus Sound of Metal. No one knows. Adapted screenplay is Nomadland versus The Father. Actor is Hopkins versus Boseman. Actress is just, I mean, I could win it at this point, you know. anyone could win. So those are, yeah, they're really, really quite hard to predict, but it's all happened like within the last 24 hours or so, maybe in the last week, that these ones have now been thrown out of balance. Some films that might come away with nothing. Mank, maybe. The Father, maybe.
Yeah.
One Night in Miami, possibly, maybe, perhaps. So yeah, it's heating up. It's heating up. Lots to watch still, and yeah, I'm sure at some point we'll submit our full predictions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
On the internet, and I guess all it leaves us to do is there a film you'd like to recommend this week?
Promising Young Woman, definitely. I really do think everybody should see it because of the message of the movie and how we see rape and abuse and things like that. I really do think everyone should see it. Yeah, and it's just been so well made, and the performances are just so good as well.
It's a good example of everyone should see it, even if they don't like the film, you know, because it's about spreading the message and it's not about popularity.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm looking forward to watching it again when the hype's sort of gone. You know, just watch it separate to awards. You know, I've been watching it through an awards lens, and I need to watch it as a film. So
yeah.
Sound of Metal for me, no brainer. Although Minari and Nomadland are also up there in my 5-star films.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sound of Metal, I genuinely found it to be a real experience and a masterclass in cinema, like filmmaking. And if you've got headphones, earphones, please try and watch them because otherwise I think you will miss some of the details that make it really special. And that's
it.
About it, really.
I think it's quite nice that you always have a favourite every year, one that you're really, really you've attached to and you'd really promote. There's usually one most years. But
sorry, I have to go back and think, is there?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, stuff like Moonlight and things like that, things that you've really connected with and that you push every year.
You don't often have one.
No, I don't think I have for a long time. Well, there hasn't been. I mean, the last one that I really, really, really enjoyed, I think it would be 2014 when it had like The Theory of Everything and
of course, The Imitation Game.
Yeah, The Imitation Game. Things like that. There was quite a lot of films in there that I really enjoyed and I would watch again. And this year, Promising Young Woman, I so enjoyed that and I just thought I was so impressed by it. I haven't had that for ages. And it's even though I've not watched and paid much attention to the Oscars like I have every other year, it's been so refreshing to have that one film that has really kind of had an impact. So I'm really pleased in that respect. But I'm hoping next year I'm just back to normal and obsessed with the Oscars again, because this year it's been really scary that I've been like, when it's the Oscars, I'm not really bothered. Because that's like, who are you? What's wrong with you? It's like somebody else is possessing my body or something, because I'm usually so into it. So I'm hoping next year's more normal.
Yeah. Not long, less than a month now. I think cinemas are going to be reopening here.
Yeah, I really hope that we're able to do it. It's not going to be something that we have to
and that films actually
worry too much about. Yeah, I really do want to. I want to see.
But on that note,
that's it. That's Oscar week.
Good roundup, yeah. And obviously we'll see what happens and probably report back sometime after the 20th. and see how we did and what we thought of the evening, which is going to be done in person. They are all getting COVID tested on site.
Yeah.
It's going to be nice in a way because we haven't seen an award ceremony done in person.
We've not seen anything done in person. It's just not been anything done properly, so that it'll be nice to see.
And it wouldn't be right if the Oscars if they weren't the ones to do it.
Yeah, it's too big an event. I just can't see any other way you would do it. It's just not right.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody is looking forward to it. They're going to watch it, and definitely get around to some of the films if you haven't seen them, because there's some really great ones on that list.
Cool.
Okay, so happy Oscars.
Happy Oscars. Are you going to ask me the question?
Yeah, Matt, where can they find us?
Oh, it's funny you ask, because we're everywhere. You can find us on our website, which is www.cinechat.co.uk/podcast, or you can find us on social media. I'm very active on Twitter nowadays. I'm trying to make that a thing.
Yeah, you've learned Twitter.
It's just addictive, I think. So yeah, if you do have those, please find us. You're usually just called CineChat Podcast. Mm-hmm. Or you can email us, which no one has really done for a long time, at
podcast@cinechat.co.uk.
I think I might email it just so
just to make sure the email's working.
Make the dust move away a bit. So yeah, and yeah, I think that's everything. I hope you enjoyed it.
Talk to us about what you want to win, because we'd love to hear what people are rooting for.
If it were up to you, if you had a ballot, what would you pick?
Yeah. Okay, so it's bye for me.
And it's bye from me. Oscars.